Chillin' with Larry Megan.
Well, good evening to you wherever you may be. We're chilling with Larry Megan on a Thursday night once again. Tonight, in our classic film zone, we're going to be featuring one of my favorite Gene Kelly movies, An American in Paris. And Barbara Rosene is back from her trip to Paris, and she'll be joining us for that and leading us through our classic film zone. On the singing competitions this week on The Voice and American Idol, we're definitely going to be getting into those things. I was very disappointed by The Voice this week. If you watched it, maybe you were too. I know there were a lot of people upset about The Voice this week. We'll talk about that. Tonight, we're going to have to put a hard limit on what time we close the show. We're going to try and be done by 11:45 our time if we can. If we run a little over, we'll run over, but certainly no later than midnight, because when we get off the air here tonight, I'm going straight into Shop NBC, and I'll be representing Sterling Original at, actually that's going to be 1 a.m. Central, so 2 a.m. Eastern time. I'll be in that hour with, I think we've got about 5 or 6 Sterling Original pieces in that hour, so it's going to be a busy night for me here tonight, and I'll probably get home around 4 in the morning or something like that. But anyway, so, a lot's been going on, away from chilling with Larry Megan. For Sterling, I've got the JCK that I'm dealing with, the big jewelry show, and of course a lot going on with Sterling Original, and some other things I'm working on, which hopefully will be a nice surprise for Acorn TV in the near future. It's not in cement yet, but looking to do some new things here with Acorn TV, and hopefully we'll be able to share some of that with you pretty soon. All right. Well, having said that, let's get into this just a little bit here in our section that we call the Do Re Mi section, because these contestants are singing for dough. They're singing for big money, these big recording contracts, and we're going to start off with The Voice this week. And right at the top of the show, when they came on Monday night, Carson Daly right off the bat says there's going to be a twist tonight. He says we're going to have a coach's elimination. So, like, it's going to be done immediately at the end of the show. So what they're doing right now, this week you have Team Blake and Team Christina performing, while Adam and CeeLo's team, they're in the audience just watching. And right now the teams are down to 4 contestants on each team. So we're going to see basically 8 performances, 4 from Christina and 4 from Team Blake. At the end of the night, before they even go to the America's vote, which the eliminations are the next night, and they've never done this before, we're now told at the start of the show the coaches will automatically eliminate one of their team members. So they're going to go from 4 to 3, supposedly based on how they perform tonight. Well, right then, I kind of had a bad feeling about my girl. The one I'm pulling for, of course, is Jordis Unga. And sure enough, Jordis got kicked off the team, and it was grossly unfair. It really was. We'll get a little bit more into that as we go. So first up on the night was Team Blake, and he had his girl, Ray Lynn. And Ray Lynn is that country girl, 17-year-old, and she sang... Halo. No, excuse me. Ray Lynn sang. Where's my notes here, fellas? What'd you do here? She sang the song "She's Country." It was the Jason Aldean tune. "She's Country." I guess it was my fault. I screwed up the notes there. Yeah, the song fit her perfectly because she is a country girl. Problem is, she's just not that good of a singer, and she's the only country singer in the whole competition. And she's on Team Blake. Of course, Blake Shelton, the big country star, he's kind of really committed to her being, the country guy, and she's the only country girl. So no matter what, he's going to keep her. And she did a nice job on She's Country. But anyway, it is what it is. She was very spunky. She was feisty. This was maybe one of her better performances. But, Blake loved it. I'll tell you that. He said that this was the most proud moment that he's had based on anybody from his team the entire season. So obviously Blake loves her. Next up, we had from Team Christina, Jesse Campbell. And of course, Jesse Campbell is the one. He's 42 years old. He was actually, for a while, he was living in his car with his daughter in Chicago. And this show has brought him a lot of notoriety. He sang What a Wonderful World the week before. This time he's the one, he sang Halo, which was a Beyonce song. He dedicated it to his daughter. His daughter was in the crowd. You know, they had pictures of her all over the stage. Of course, you know, 2 weeks before, both CeeLo and Adam said, "You're the one to beat in this competition." They praised him as being, you know, one of the real top front runners on this. And, well, you know, later in the show, Christina kicked him off the team before it ever went to a public vote. And there was quite an outcry, you know, on the internet that Christina dumped him. But again, we've never seen this happen before. You know, we thought we were past the stage now. We're into the final 16, going into the final 8. You would think you'd be past the point now where coaches are just, you know, kicking him off before a public vote. But she gave him the boot, and he's gone. Next up was Jordis Unga. And this is the one that I've been pulling for all season. And when Jordis came out in that dress, I have to say, you know, I mean, listen, you know, you can see she's kind of a hard rocking chick. You see the tattoos all up and down her arm. She's got the full on sleeve tattoos going on. You know, we're used to seeing Jordan in some kind of a real hard rock outfit. She sang A Little Bit Stronger by Sarah Evans, the great country star. And she did a fabulous job. That's the one video I've chosen for you. We're going to play. But the thing is, if that dress maybe had been a black dress or a red dress, okay. But you don't, when I saw her wearing this dress, I knew she was in a lot of trouble. I really did. I mean, what is it, like a pastel peach or something like that, or maybe a really soft baby pink? Didn't really go well with Jordis. Later on in the show, when Blake kicked her off the team and sent her home, she practically, I wouldn't say she had a breakdown up there, but she was, you know, emotionally crushed. She's definitely one of the strongest singers in the competition. And later on that night on the internet, Jordis was tweeting and she said, "Hey, they let me keep the dress." So I guess she liked it. But anyway, I knew she was in trouble. Let's take a look now. This was Jordis's last performance on. Actually, I couldn't say it was her last, because later on in the night, they actually did a group number for Team Blake, and Team Christina did a group number. And during that group number of Team Blake, it was, I would say Jordis actually stole the show in that number. And so she really did a great job. And I thought she did a great job on this song. Let's check it out.
Today, and I still feel the sting of the pain, but I brush my teeth anyway. I got dressed through the mess and put a smile on my face. I got a little bit stronger, a little bit stronger. Drag my heart around. I'm done thinking that you could ever change. Guess my heart would never be the same. I'm telling myself I'll be okay, even on my weakest days. I get a little bit stronger, a little bit stronger, getting along without you, babe. Feel without me, baby. Getting stronger without you, baby. I'm done hoping that we can work it out. Done with how it feels, spinning my wheels, letting you drag my heart around. And I'm done thinking that you could ever change. Guess my heart would never be the same. I'm telling myself I'll be okay, even on my weakest days. I get a little bit stronger, a little bit stronger.
From Team Blake, that is Jordis Unga. All right, coaches, Blake, we'll get to you in just a second. First, Christina.
Jordis, I mean, you came out here looking lovely tonight. And, you know, I like when you show your vulnerable side. I think that's what really touched people when you sang Wild Horses. And it drew people in. So I like the more intimate, softer approach from you, actually.
Thank you.
Mr. CeeLo Green.
I agree. It was a very touching performance. You sounded beautiful. You looked beautiful. Great choice in song, Blake. I thought it was great.
Adam.
Yeah, I always tell everybody when we're working together, you know, try to feel what they're talking about, singing, you know, that's a huge part of it, and you go so far, like the extra mile, because you actually feel that way. So that's such an amazing thing to be able to witness, is that you're so emotional up there. You're almost in tears by the end. Like that's what people want to see, is that connection. So you did an amazing job.
Thank you.
All right, let's hear from your coach, Blake.
I'm really proud of you for doing that, because it's so opposite of what we know of Jordis, and it's something that I want people to know, because she wants people to know. Jordis is a writer. This is actually where it started for her, and it was so good. You did perfect. You did perfect.
Thank you, Blake.
Well, there was, you know, the responses by the judges were not overly, not super spectacular, but it was a soft song, and that was Jordis's farewell song. And no matter what you thought of it, if you saw the performances of Ray, Lynn, and Aaron, who they kept over her, it just defies logic. It really, really does. All right, next up was Team Christina. They went back to Ashley De La Rosa. And, of course, you might remember Ashley De La Rosa was the one that Christina saved in favor of Sarah Hill. And everyone thought she was going to save Sarah Hill, or even the rapper MC Moses Stone. And she went with this 17-year-old from Florida who showed a lot of promise. She sang great during their team number with Christina. She was, her and Christina was fabulous during that number. She was incredible. But Ashley was certainly holding her own. And here she was performing Foolish Games by Jewel. And Blake, his comment was pretty awesome. He said after her performance, he thought that the smartest decision that's been made this season on the show was Christina saving Ashley. But Ashley's no longer with the show. We'll get into that a little bit later. She's gone. But she did a nice job that night. Next up, we went back to Team Blake. We went to Erin Willett. Erin is the one who, you know, heavyset girl. There she is. And she was singing another Adele song. I think the Adele songs are just overdone. It's too much already. She did Set Fire to the Rain. She did a nice job with it. She's got a good voice. There's no question about it. She can sing. I don't think it's all that special. And it bothers me that they Blake kept her in place of Jordis, but you know, it is what it is. And that's why I knew Jordis would be in trouble, because you knew Blake was not going to send home the one country singer. And Blake formed a bond with this girl a few weeks ago when her father passed away. She stayed for the auditions. Blake really nurtured her. And then 3 weeks later, Blake's father died. So there was a real bond between this girl and Blake, and there was no way Blake was going to send her home. Jermaine, you know, had the best performance of the night for Team Blake, so he wasn't going anywhere. So it was very unfair, and Jordis got sent home. But anyway, Aaron did a nice job. Blake said, you know, the judges were criticizing a little bit, you know, of singing Adele. And Blake said, well, hey, if anybody on this show can pull off Adele, it's Aaron. And that's why he let her go with it. Next up was, from back to Team Christina, was Lindsey Paveo. And Lindsey is the one that's got that real kind of, you know, eerie, creepy type of singing style. She's definitely a song stylist for sure. Not a big booming voice or anything like that. But, you know, here she did. Now, what you're looking at right here to start off the song, she did Part of Me, a Katy Perry song. And she had these topless men that she used as a microphone stand to get the song started. A little bit weird, but all of her, you know, choreography and the whole way she sets up her songs, they're all a little bit creepy. And she's very popular. I guess people are downloading her tunes on iTunes. And, you know, she's still with us, so she's still in the show. She's very popular. She was going to do a Rihanna song or two Rihanna songs, S&M and We Found Love, a medley. And at the last minute, she switched it up to the Katy Perry song. I think I would have rather seen her do the Rihanna songs, but nevertheless, she did a nice job. And it just seems to me like she's kind of a one-trick pony. She keeps doing the same styling each week. Next up, we went back to Team Blake, and this was Jermaine Paul, and he's the one who's the backup singer for Alicia Keys. He's very popular on the show. I think he's done a great job. I think for Team Blake, he probably had the best performance of all four of them on Team Blake. He did Against All Odds, a Phil Collins song, and he dedicated the song to his family who was there in the audience, and you know, it was passionate for sure. And Blake was blown away by the performance. He said, of course, that's his coach. You know, he's going to say nice things, but he said, we all have those moments when we say, oh my gosh, that was a turning point in my life. And he said to Jermaine, I think when you look back on tonight, that you're going to think of tonight as that turning point in your life. And America's going to realize after tonight that you're a superstar. So, you know, Blake was obviously impressed. And after making those kind of comments, you just knew there was no way that he was going to send home Jermaine. All right. So then the last one to perform on the night was for Team Christina was Chris Mann. And he's the one that's the opera style singer. He's got a great voice, but he really switched it up on this one. And I think it might have been Christina. I don't recall, but one of them referred to it as popra because it's kind of a mix between pop and opera. And he sang Viva La Vida, a Coldplay song. And he definitely did a nice job with it. I think I read that they're getting a lot of downloads on that song on iTunes. So he definitely did a nice job with that. Christina admired him for stepping out of his comfort zone and doing something that he's not normally accustomed to. And she said that she really loved that about him. So at the end of the show, now we had their instant elimination by the coaches. And for Team Christina, you had, here they are. They were awaiting her decision. It was starting from left to right. You had Jesse Campbell and Ashley De La Rosa. There's Lindsey Paveo, and on the right is Chris Mann. And now, before it ever went to a public vote, you know, it was up to Christina, and she really did babble on for 2 or 3 minutes. She really was struggling with making the decision, trying to justify it, but she said she was letting Jesse go, and it was a real shock. You know, it was almost like cruel, you know, with the kids, his little, whatever she is, 13-year-old daughter or 12-year-old daughter sitting in the audience, and they just dedicated that song to her. And then she sees, and I think even Jesse was pretty shocked. I mean, he was very complimentary. He appreciated the opportunity and Christina and all that, but you could see he was pretty shocked right there. Next up, of course, Team Blake had to face the same music, and they came to the stage, and from left to right, this is when I just knew that Jordis was in big trouble here. Ray Lynn, who really is not a good singer, I hate to say it, she just isn't. It's painful to listen to her sing. She's on the left, but she's a country girl, the only country person left in this competition, and Blake definitely formed a bond with her. There's Jordis next up, and then, of course, Aaron, whose father passed away. You just kind of knew he wasn't going to send her home. That would be the ultimate cruelty. And then, of course, Jermaine Paul, who did a really nice job. So sure enough, Blake delivered the hammer, and he said he had to let Jordis go. And, you know, which I thought was, his reasoning was lame. He said he had, and I like Blake, but he said he had to let her go because 2 weeks ago she was in the bottom three. Well, also 2 weeks ago, she had the #1 selling tune on iTunes. So more people spent money to buy Jordis' song than anybody else's. But yet he let her go based upon, because she was in the bottom three 2 weeks ago. Anyway, Jordis was kind of crushed. I mean, you could see she was really holding back the tears. They were starting to come out. And she said she was sad, and she's gone now. And again, it's never been done like that before. At least let it go to the American vote. And then the next night, we'll see who has the most votes. But the public did not get an opportunity to vote for Jordis or Jesse Campbell, and there was a lot of outcry, on the internet about that. Next up, we get to the elimination night. The following night, now you basically have 3 people left on Team Christina and 3 people left on Team Blake, and so here we come now to Tuesday night and the results. And you've got Team Christina standing up there with Ashley and Chris Mann and Lindsey Paveo, and I don't think anybody really expected Chris Mann to be the one. The way they're going to do it is the person with the most votes is going to go through to the final 8, and the other 2 are going to have to sing for their life. So there's Chris Mann. He's kind of shocked. He is safe by America, and Ashley is going to have to sing off against Lindsey Paveo. So, that was the story there. And then Ashley came up, and I thought she did a really nice job, actually. Ashley sang You and I, a Lady Gaga song, and it was kind of a passionate performance for sure. And then Lindsey came up and sang Please Don't Go. And again, that was, typical Lindsey Paveo style. It had that real eerie feel to it, slow. And I really thought for sure, in my mind, she was going to send, and now Christina has to let one of them go. And I thought she was going to let Lindsey go because Ashley had so much passion, and she had that bigger voice, more like Christina's voice. But Christina let the 17-year-old go, and Lindsey Paveo moves on. And so Lindsey now will be in the final 8 when she performs in 2 weeks. And here's Christina saying goodbye to Ashley. She just looks like she's mugging her from behind right there. But anyway, Ashley's gone. Then, of course, Team Blake had to go through the same exercise here. They came up to the stage, and it was Raylynn, Jermaine, and Aaron. And, I just knew this was gonna be tough because I was pulling for Jermaine to be the one that America saved, and it was because I wanted to see Blake send home one of his 2 girls because he definitely formed a bond with those 2 girls. Jermaine was in fact safe, and so now you had a situation where the country girl Raylynn had to sing against Aaron, whose father had passed away. Blake had bonded with both of these girls, so you knew it was not going to be easy for Blake. But anyway, Aaron came up first, and she sang Proud Mary, which when I heard that she was singing Proud Mary, I thought this is not going to be good. And frankly, I don't think it was that good. I mean, you think of Tina Turner doing Proud Mary, there's no question Aaron's got a great booming voice and all that, but I don't know. To me, it was just an ordinary performance, nothing special. Raylynn came up there and she sang from the band Perry, If I Die Young. Once again, difficult to listen to. I would even go as far as say painful. I just did not like this girl's style at all. And then, of course, I was almost sure he was going to keep Raylynn. I thought he was, but I was kind of hoping that he would send her home just because she's tough to listen to. And Blake did defy his country roots, and he did send home Raylynn. And Erin Willett now is in the final 8, and she'll be performing in 2 weeks. Now, let me say this, guys. So now, first of all, the whole episode was disappointing, not just because Jordis got cut. This week, yes, Jordis got cut. That ruined the week for me as far as I'm concerned. But overall, to me, these 2 teams, there's really not much to watch. Jordis was the only one I was really looking forward to seeing out of these 2 entire teams. Now you look at the other 2 teams, Team Adam and Team CeeLo. Well, really, there's not much there either, honestly. Team CeeLo has 2, I think, people that I look forward to, and that would be Juliet Simms and Jamar Rogers. Now, last week, we did not do a Chillin' with Larry Megan show, so we weren't able to see what I consider to be the performance of the season. And now that my girl Jordis is gone, I'm going, this is my new girl, this is my new favorite. I'm going for Juliet Simms, and I was really looking forward to Juliet squaring off against Jordis when we got to the final 8, where we can all get him in one show. But it never happened because Jordis got sent home. But this girl, Juliet from Los Angeles, man, she had the performance of the season last week when we didn't do a show. She sang Roxanne by, of course, Sting, the Police. And I got to tell you, to me, it has been the performance of the season. And I think what we want to do is show it to you and share it. Did we get that one? Yep. Okay, let's go ahead and share it now. Check it out, Juliet Simms.
Roxanne, you don't have to put on the red light. Those days are over. You don't have to sell your body to the night. Roxanne, you don't have to wear that dress tonight. Walk the streets Roxanne, you don't have to put on the red light. 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 I loved you since I knew ya. I wouldn't talk down to ya. I had to tell you just how I feel. I won't share you with another boy. Roxanne, you don't have to put on the red light. Roxanne, you don't have to put on the red light. Well, you don't have to put on the red light. 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 Put on the red light.
Oh, Juliet Simms, everybody. A standing ovation from, come here, Juliet. It's like you got possessed there for a minute. Great job. Very, very,
Thank you.
very cool. Let's see what the coaches thought. Adam, I'll start with you.
Well, this just pisses me right off. I really wanted you on my team, and I was fighting with this one over here, and then you picked him. It was a whole mess, and God, I regret every second of it. You're the best performance I've seen so far. As much as I hate having to admit that. That is the truth, my dear. You did the best of anyone that's performed so far.
Wow, thank you, Adam. Christina, some thoughts.
I was into it. I was so into it. Your voice is dope. I love it. I really loved it. I loved you from go. I know me and Adam are a little bitter. I know there's some sour grapes going on.
Extremely bitter.
I gotta give it to you, CeeLo. I'm jealous of this one. You definitely, I second everything Adam said.
CeeLo, I hate you. I hate you deeply.
All right, let's see what Blake had to say. Hey, Blake, what'd you think?
That's the first time I've ever actually heard you, like your voice, like you sing, and it's so good. I mean, you're already very popular in this competition, but I just feel like I heard you actually sing for the first time, and it's so good. It's no wonder.
That's great.
That's why everybody, now I get it. Now I see what the fight is about. It's that good. It really is.
Even old Crap Jacket liked you over there.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you panties. Now let's go to CeeLo. CeeLo, you're the coach.
Wow, baby, just wow. Oh, man, you did such an amazing job. Way to go, Julie. Way to go, baby. And you know what? You know what? There's no need in either of these two referencing the fact that they were arguing, because you're well endowed with too much talent to not have great taste. And so it does not matter whether or not they were paying attention or not. You would have picked me. You would have picked me.
I am mad at you. I'm gonna fight you.
You don't need no smoke, no mirrors, no nothing. All you need is that voice. Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely thought Juliet had the performance of the season, and obviously she didn't perform this week, but next week Team CeeLo comes to perform, and it'll be interesting to see how she follows that one up, because that was pretty hot. All right, switching gears now, we're going to go to American Idol quickly. You know, it's funny, too, because I was really disappointed by the overall talent this week, but even overall, there just aren't that many really performers that I want to see every week on The Voice right now, which surprised me. I would thought at the start of the season, The Voice was the one that, you know, I'd be more interested in watching. But honestly, I think there's better talent, as far as depth of talent. I mean, obviously Juliet can sing with anybody, but as far as depth of talent, American Idol, has made quite a comeback. Last year I thought was the worst season of American Idol. I was 1 foot out the door already. But this season, man, they're bringing it. And they have their top 7 this week for the second week in a row because, as you may recall, they actually, well, maybe you don't recall because we didn't have a show last week, but it's actually Jessica Sanchez, in a surprise, was voted off the show, and the judges used their save. Jennifer Lopez went running up on the stage and grabbed the mic away from her. She said, "Baby, you don't have to sing. We're using our save." And so for the 2 weeks in a row, they had 7 people, and they saved Jessica Sanchez, which I'm thankful they did because Jessica, that's the one that, I want to see win either Jessica or Josh. I'm pulling for Joshua or Jessica to win this thing. Anyway, she saved. So that was your top 7. And they kicked it off this week with Holly Kavanaugh. And it seemed like Holly was going to be the one that should have been gone by now, or possibly Elise. The judges have been getting on Holly for not connecting. So this week they all got to sing 2 songs. The first one was going to have to be a top 100 Billboard hit from any song within the last 10 years. And Holly chose Rolling in the Deep by Adele. I couldn't believe it. Again, another Adele song, again, Rolling in the Deep. How many people do we have to see sing Rolling in the Deep? But Holly sang it, and to her credit, she sang it great. She kind of even had a little bit of her own spin with it. And the judges finally caved in a little bit. They did not give her a hard time. They told her that she's finally starting to connect. Of course, this was a song that she picked. But Stephen said, "You finally did what America's been waiting for you to do. You finally came out of your shell. It was beautiful." So she finally got some good comments from the judges. It's been probably about 3 weeks since she heard anything positive come out of the judges. So that was a nice change. Colton Dixon came up next, and he did Bad Romance by Lady Gaga. I thought he did a nice job. I'm not a big, Colton Dixon fan, but I thought he did it really well. Randy told him, you're so in the zone right now. I'd love to see your interpretations. Job well done. Once again, the judges, gave him compliments across the board on that one. And he seems like he has a nice following, too. He's never been in the bottom 3. Okay, so Colton looks like a threat to win it. Next up, of course, was Elise Testone, and this is one of the girls I really like. She's the older girl in the show. I think she's about 26 or 27, something like that, or maybe not quite that old, but definitely older than the teenage girls in this show. And she did No One by Alicia Keys, and I thought she did a great job on this, and she's got that raspy kind of voice, and Stephen told her, "I love you, baby. I love the grit. You have such a beautiful voice for a better chorus." So in other words, he wanted to see a bigger chorus song, a song that would show off her voice even better. But he said, "You sang your little tushy off." I thought that was pretty funny. And then Jennifer said she got her first goosies of the night. So the judges really do love Elise, and she had a solid performance there. Next came Philip Phillips, and I've said this before, I'm not a big fan of Phillips, but he's obviously very popular on this show. He's never been in the bottom 3. He tries to make it, he does every song in the same kind of a way, the Dave Matthews Band kind of a way. He's definitely talented. I see it, just not necessarily my style. However, I will say this week, I gotta hand it to the guy. He really, I actually started liking this guy, and especially his second performance. He did it without his guitar. I think this is the first time I've seen him without his guitar, and he really did a nice job. So he actually sang, if I didn't mention it, he sang "You Got It Bad" by Usher. You wouldn't expect, Philip Phillips to do an Usher song, but that's exactly what he did, and he definitely, made it his own. The judges all gave him a standing ovation. It was their first standing ovation of the night. So the judges, they just love him. And Jennifer, she had said, "Oh, that was so sexy. That was so sexy the way you did it." So again, the judges just love this guy. Next up was my favorite girl here is Jessica Sanchez, and she needed a bounce back week. I thought she was great last week, but for whatever reason, she didn't get the votes. Maybe America thought that, there's no need to vote for her because everyone's voting for her. The judges are pushing her so hard. Sometimes there can be a backlash, and the people just don't like to be told who to vote for. She sang "Fallen" by Alicia Keys, and Randy. I think Randy is also on the Jessica Sanchez train. You know, he wants this girl to win. He's constantly pushing her, and he just said your talent is otherworldly. He's blown away by her, and I am too. Every week we try to decide what song we're going to show you. We're going to show one clip. I could just show Jessica Sanchez literally every single week, but we're going to show you something a little different this week. But she did a great job. Next up was Skylar, Laine, and I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this girl's going to win this thing. That's how good she is. She just never has a bad performance. She's solid every single week. She comes out there. She doesn't have a care in the world, and she just kicks behind out there. This girl has so much passion. Now, you know, last year, of course, you had Scotty McCreery and Lauren Elena, the two country singers, but they didn't have this kind of passion. And I liked Lauren Elena, and Lauren Elena is a great singer, but this girl is got that twang. She's from Mississippi, and she comes out there and she just says, "Get out of my way." Matter of fact, she sang "Born This Way," a Lady Gaga song. She did what she called the country road version, and Jennifer really loved it. That's the one I want to show you. And the reason why is because, yes, it was good and it was one of my favorites, but this girl might win this thing, and we haven't shown a Skylar Laine video yet, okay? I figured, you know what? And we could have shown either one of two. She did two great performances this week, but this one's pretty twangy, okay? Check it out.
Well, if I want to make it country, baby, it's okay. 'Cause I was born this way. My mama told me when I was young, we're all born superstars. She rolled my hair, put my lipstick on, in the glass of her boudoir. There's nothing wrong with loving who you are, she said, 'cause he made you perfect, babe. So hold your head up and you'll go far. Listen to me when I say how beautiful is my way. 'Cause God makes no mistakes. I'm on the right track, baby. I was born this way. Don't hurt yourself and regret. Just love yourself and you said I'm on the right track, baby. I was born this way. Ooh, there ain't no other way, baby. I was born this way, baby. I was born this way. Well, if I wanna make it country, baby, it's okay. 'Cause I was born this way. From London, Paris, Japan, back to USA. Yeah, I was born on the road. I was born to be brave. How beautiful is my way. 'Cause God makes no mistakes. I'm on the right track, baby. I was born this way. Don't hurt yourself and regret. Just love yourself and you said I'm on the right track, baby. Well, I was born this way.
All right, there was. I was born this way, and Stephen said, "Thank God you were born this way," because Stephen really has a thing for her. Next up was Josh Ledet, and again, this is another guy that, in my opinion, never does a bad performance. One of his idols is Fantasia, and he calls himself Mantasia, okay? And Fantasia actually showed a clip of her, a video clip coming on and wishing him luck, and he was all blown away. But he did I Believe, a Fantasia song, which was her song that she sang when she won season 3 on American Idol, her coronation song, and he did that, and he tore it up. And Jennifer said, you're just a hit every time you sing. Then they went for the second round, and on the second round, the theme on the second round was classic soul, and they even had Don Cornelius's son in the crowd. Don Cornelius, the producer, of course, from Soul Train, and of course, I didn't mention it, but at the top of the show, Ryan gave a touching thought about Dick Clark, who he was good friends with, about Dick Clark passing away, and that was a nice touch. But Holly Kavanaugh came up first, and again, she's been accused of not having enough passion or connection to the lyrics and everything. She did "Son of a Preacher Man," the Dusty Springfield song, and she's starting to come out of her shell a little bit. She's starting to get it. And my thought was, if she can just get through this week and have another chance at starting to build, this girl's starting to build momentum. She's a little thing with a big, big voice. She's been very robotic, but this week she came out a little bit with the Adele song and this one too. So look out for her. She did make it through this week. Next up was Colton Dixon, and Colton Dixon, never been in the bottom 3 before. The girls go crazy for this guy. He's got that, skunk hairdo style that he wears. And he went back to the piano, where he's had some big hits on this show already by playing piano. And he did September by Earth, Wind, and Fire. And Steven, right on the spot, kind of called him out a little bit. Steven Tyler, he said, I think your voice is more powerful than that song. You got to be careful with your song choices. Sure enough, Colton Dixon was in the bottom 3 tonight. And if you haven't seen it yet, or you don't know yet, Colton Dixon got voted off the show. He's gone, and there's no more judges save, which was a real shocker tonight because he had never been in the bottom 3, and now he's gone. So, maybe Steven, had it right. Next up was Elise Testone, and I really like this, what she did. She's the one girl that could pull a song like this off on this show. She sang Let's Get It On by Marvin Gaye. And, if one of the teenage girls would have done it, it would have been kind of inappropriate. But Elise started off on the couch, and she's wearing the black, dress and everything. And she's singing Let's Get It On. And it was pretty sexy. In fact, Steven said, I think that song struck a note with every man in America. You broke some more hearts tonight, said Steven. So, I think Elise had a really solid night. Philip Phillips came back, and he did a fantastic job on, this was a Wilson Pickett song, The Midnight Hour. And this is really, I would have to say, my favorite Philip Phillips performance of the whole season. I've been down on this guy, but I got to say, he showed some real soul in this one tonight, and he showed some real musicality for me, not just the typical, rhythm style that he likes to sing. But anyway, I give Philip a lot of props for this one tonight. Now, he's another one that's never been in the bottom 3, so that could be a kiss of death. Next up was my girl, Jessica Sanchez. Love this little 16-year-old from San Diego, and she did Try a Little Tenderness, Otis Redding. In my opinion, she's never had a bad performance yet. She was solid. This girl's got a lot of soul, too. In fact, Steven said, you got to always listen for Steven. He comes up with some funny stuff. He said, God Almighty, bless my soul, she's done it again. Steven loves her, too. And then came Skylar Laine, and she sang Heard It Through the Grapevine, another Marvin Gaye song. And again, another, I don't know if it's a home run for Skylar. It's hard to tell. Just everything she does is compelling. I mean, whether she's on key or not, or on pitch or not, she seems to be on pitch, but it almost, with this girl, doesn't matter. It's her sassiness and spunk that really gets you. And then last up was Joshua Ledet. And by the way, going back to Skylar, I just noticed here in my notes here on the comments, Steven said, you're like a wild horse that refuses to be tamed. And I think that's a great comment because that is kind of what she's like. You just cannot tame that country girl. But Joshua Ledet came up, and he sang one of my all-time favorite songs. And so I wanted to show it to you, and then we'll move on. But A Change Is Going to Come, Sam Cooke. We've heard a lot of people over the years do this song. It's kind of a civil rights anthem, if you will. And it's kind of in his wheelhouse, in my opinion, because Sam Cooke was another great soul singer that had the gospel influence that came from the church. This guy is the goods right here, Joshua Ledet. I hope it's him and Jessica in the final, and then I won't care who wins. But here's another guy, like I say, from the church. A Change Is Going to Come, Joshua Ledet.
Just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long, long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. Then I go to my brother. And I said, brother, help me please. But he just keeps on knocking me. Knocking me down on my knees. Oh, sometimes I feel I could last for long, and I don't think I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change
Well, there it was. So another week of do re mi, huh? But so we know that Colton Dixon is now gone. There's 6 left on American Idol. It's getting close to the money time now. And we're going to go to a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to have our classic film zone with An American in Paris. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
ZuluTimeZone.com is the first and only authorized dealer for Offshore Limited in the United States. ZuluTimeZone.com is proud to support Chillin' with Larry Megan and Acorn TV. Use the discount coupon code DAD to receive an additional $20 off per item. ZuluTimeZone.com digs Chillin' with Larry Megan.
Okay. Our good friend Mike Davidson, chilling with Larry Megan. He says it like my dad used to call my name. Anyway, welcome back to Chilling with Larry Megan, and we've got Barbie standing by. Before we get to that, let me just remind everybody, we've got a nice little crowd out there tonight. Thank you all for tuning in. And if you're new to Chilling with Larry Megan, Acorn TV, please like us on our Facebook page. Please share this feed with the little share button. To like us, there's a little Facebook icon over on the right-hand side of the monitor right there. Just click that and go to our Facebook page and then hit like. And then also you can follow us on Twitter and share this feed on your Facebook page. Okay. Now, by the way, before we move forward, I just want to make a quick call out. That commercial you just saw was for our good friend Mark from ZuluTimeZone.com, who's supporting us here at Acorn TV. Of course, if you're not familiar with Zulu Time Zone, he sells watches. So he's got some good deals there for any fans of Acorn TV. If you use that discount coupon code DAD, well, then you're going to get an additional $20 off, and his prices are already discounted. Okay, fellas, do we have Barbie ready now? Is she all ready? Okay, great. Well, without further ado, we're going to go now to the Classic Film Zone. Was my mic hot? No. Okay. All right. Well, listen, We have standing by Barbara Rosene, who's going to lead us through the Classic Film Zone. Welcome back, Barbie.
Thank you. Wow, I feel like such a pioneer.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. What'd you say?
I feel like such a pioneer. I'm leading you through the film zone.
Uh-huh.
Can you hear me?
I can, yeah, just barely. Can I get a little more feedback in the studio?
Okay, how's that?
Okay. Yeah, it's better. That's fine, Barbie. Okay. Very good. So tell me now, I know you just got back from a little vacation. You went to Europe. How was it?
It was lovely. It was beautiful. It was, I hadn't been in France in, a long time. It was the 5th time I'd been to Paris, but hadn't been there for a really long time. It was beautiful food and beautiful architecture, and I sat in with a little jazz band. We all we did was eat and walk around the city. It was beautiful.
Well, so you did get to sing then, huh?
I did. I sang with. I'm on this little record label, and they've also recorded this little French jazz band. So I knew they were playing, and I wrote to them, and they said, "Come on in and sit in with us." So I did that. It was really fun. Awesome. And is Paris just as romantic as it always has been on your other trips? I would say it's more romantic.
Okay, good. It's the city of love, right?
It's the city of light.
The city of light.
So it is the city of love. Yeah, I mean, certainly.
Yeah, I once had a girlfriend who said, if you really want to get me, take me to Paris. She said she'll go for anybody in Paris.
Did you take her?
No. No.
Okay. Well, have you been there?
I have not, which is really funny because it's ironic because I actually had a Parisian girlfriend for almost 2 years, but we never, made it back there.
Oh, no.
I know.
You've got to go. I mean, stop with this Basel stuff.
Yeah.
Zurich.
Yeah. Well, right now I have a tentative trip, but I'm not sure I'm going to go, and it's coming up in less than 3 weeks.
Really?
For Milan.
Oh, that would be. You should do that.
Well, we'll see. It's a business thing. It's not a pleasure thing, and it would only be for a couple days.
Yeah.
So it's a long way to go for a couple days. So it's still, hopefully, maybe tomorrow a decision will be made or in the next couple days, but we'll see. Okay. So anyway, Barbie, coming back, the thing is, I was thinking about what movie could we do, and you and I had our little short list of movies. And I don't know, I just thought, well, you're coming back from Paris. How about An American in Paris?
No, that was amazing. I wouldn't have thought of that. That's so generous that you thought of that. And yeah, and I hadn't seen it in a long, long time. So I rewatched it, and I loved it even more. I think.
It had been a long time for me as well, seeing this movie. One of the interesting things to me about it, and I'm going to let you just take over here, but it seems like in that post-World War II period, I mean, maybe the next 10 years or so after, or maybe even more, maybe 15 years, whatever, it seems like by looking at the movies that came out all those years, there seemed to be a genuine love affair between America and France, and particularly with Paris, that Americans loved France in those post-war years and vice versa.
Yeah, I think so too. And even though unbelievably, none of this movie was actually filmed in Paris except for some of the overview shots at the beginning. Mm-hmm. Everything was on the back lot, which is astonishing. But they did that, and they pulled it off. Especially in this film, I think they pulled it off.
Yeah, it seems like on that MGM lot, they must have constructed like whole universes or cities in it practically. But all right, Barbie, tell us all about it.
Well, so this is an MGM musical that was created really by Fried. He had his whole set of people that he worked with all the time, and he wanted all along to do a musical about a ballet with a ballet in it. So he really was thinking of Gene Kelly or Fred Astaire, and he had a very good relationship with Ira Gershwin. So he wanted, there was no other thought than to use the Gershwin's music, and there was so much to select from, so they had a lot of fun deciding on that. But he had a whole team. It was almost like having a stock group of people to draw from. Choreographers and they used my mind is just who wrote My Fair Lady?
Oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank.
Lerner and Lowe. So
Yes.
Lerner wrote the screenplay because he was, one of the people, and Vincent Minnelli directed it, and then he got Gene Kelly to do it. Gene Kelly insisted on using some real French people in the film. He discovered Leslie Caron in 1948. It was her first film appearance, and he discovered her at the ballet in Paris, and she was only, I think, 15 years old.
When he first discovered her?
Yeah, when he wanted to talk to her after the ballet, she had already gone home to go to bed because she was a schoolgirl.
Right. I did read that it was Gene Kelly that, made the pitch to have a real French girl rather than some American starlet or actress, to have the role and act French. He wanted the authenticity of having a real French girl in that role.
Right. And then they used George Gutteri, who is really a French cabaret performer, as the second love interest. So he's very authentic. I mean, I think their choices were wonderful.
Yeah, I actually had also read that Vincent Minnelli, he wanted Maurice Chevalier for that role rather than George Gutteri. But then once he heard, I guess, Gutteri sing, then, he was okay with it.
Oh, okay. I don't think I knew that. That's interesting.
It would have been very different with Chevalier. I don't know if it would have been, it might have been, I don't know if better or not, but I really like Chevalier, particularly in Gigi, which was like 4 years later.
I love him in Gigi.
But Gutteri was great.
Yeah, he was. And there's a clip we'll show of him. I'd like to show the Stairway to Paradise clip.
Okay.
If we have time for that. But I actually want to ask you if you would like to see that first, if we should show that first clip of Meet Lisa, where we first see Leslie Caron, or we may not have time for that. So maybe we should just go right to I Got Rhythm with Gene Kelly and the kids in his neighborhood.
It's entirely up to you, Barbie. We have plenty of time. As long as I'm out of here in an hour.
All right.
I have a show.
You have to do Judy, so let's not get crazy.
Okay. Judy's segment is like 5 minutes.
Well, I think I do actually want to start with Gene Kelly's neighborhood segment with the little kids, because I think this is so charming, especially just having been there and been on the left bank myself and seen and really, I mean, it's the same. I mean, obviously, it's many years since then, but I mean, what they're depicting still exists. People live over top of the little bistros, and they have neighborhoods, and I mean, it's still so charming. So this is, his name is Jerry Mulligan in the film, and he's an artist, he's a painter, and he's in Paris. He was in Europe during World War II, is the story, and he just decided to stay on in Paris, and he has made friends with all the kids in the neighborhood. And he's teaching them, English by teaching them this Gershwin song. So if you don't mind, Ronnie, let's show I Got Rhythm.
You got it. Very nice, Barbie.
I love his tap dancing.
Yeah, and he's so great with kids. It's not the first time we've seen Gene Kelly with kids. It's almost in every movie practically.
No, and I love the casual. He talks about why he liked to wear that kind of clothing, as opposed to the way that Fred Astaire dressed, and he just thought it suited the way that he liked to move better.
Yeah.
And it's so handsome. It's such a great movie. And we should tell the premise of the movie is that he and Henri are in love with the same girl, who is Leslie Caron, and Henri, who's the cabaret performer, has somehow been instrumental in her life as, protecting her during the war.
Mm-hmm.
Now she feels she owes him something, or she, whatever. He's in love with her, and then Gene Kelly meets her, and he falls in love with her. So there's a triangle. But then there's also another woman who's interested in being the patroness of Gene Kelly or his art.
Yes.
For Jerry. So and that's Nina Falk. Foch. I've never known how to pronounce that name. It's too tricky. It's a little scary.
I know.
Foch. Everybody can decide for themselves.
Well, I was watching some special features, and Vincent Minnelli actually pronounced it as Foch or Foch with it soft. Yeah.
But I mean, she's wonderful in it. She was also in Spartacus. She was in a lot of late 40s, early 50s movies.
Yeah, she was great in this, and I also read she caught the chicken pox from these kids. And so they literally had to, cut off shooting for like 3 days or something.
Yeah, and the makeup artist had to work overtime.
Yeah.
That's funny. I know. And I also read that Leslie Caron actually was a little bit, she would get exhausted from some of the numbers.
Yes.
She had lived through World War II and was not in the greatest of shape, kind of like Audrey Hepburn, where they had really seen some real deprivation.
Yeah, I read that too, that they could never work her 2 days in a row because she physically couldn't handle it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I know.
I mean, Americans just have no idea what that time period meant to Europeans. I mean, we really were very, very lucky in so many ways.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, they were shooting this in 1950. I mean, Gene Kelly sure had a run of amazing films, starting with CoverGirl and It's Always Fair Weather and this one and Singing in the Rain. And I mean, you forget how big a part of the American musical he was.
No question about it. I mean, you're right. He created so much. And this movie won 6 Academy Awards, and I think Vincent Minnelli got Best Director. It also won Best Picture. But Gene Kelly, I mean, he was more than just a dancer choreographer. He is a filmmaker. I mean, he got involved in everything.
Yeah, I think, and it's a philosophy for him. I mean, he really had some statements I think he wanted to make, and he created something that we'll never have again in film.
Mm-hmm.
That you can't duplicate because you just can't make them the way that they used to. So, yeah, it's a real great archive.
So now that scene we just saw, Gene Kelly was returning from what is Nina Fox's character, Foch's character in that movie?
Well, she's got money.
Oh, Milo. Her name is Milo.
Is that her name?
Yeah. He was just returning from Milo's place to his neighborhood when he saw all the kids.
Right, he came in the chauffeur-driven car, so the kids were all excited.
Right.
And she's got money. He says, why do you have money? And she says, my daddy's in oil, suntan oil.
Yeah, I know. He says, how did you come to all this money? Was it a rich husband or a rich father?
Yeah, I know. I love that. I love that stereotype.
And he says, she said father. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's a little bit excited because now he has somebody that's interested in his art. He doesn't realize she's not interested in his art as much as she's interested in him.
Correct.
But and then he has to go out with her that night, and that's when he meets or sees Leslie Caron's character, Lisa, in the bistro, and he hits on her. And then the next day is the next scene that I would like to show, where he goes to where she works. She works for a perfumery, and he goes to get a date with her.
Okay.
So that's their first real interaction. If you don't mind, Ronnie, Jerry gets date, please.
Okay, let's do it. Very nice, Barbie.
She sounds so darling. I love her little accent. I don't think she spoke very much English at all, supposedly.
Which added to the authenticity of the whole film.
Yeah, darling. I loved her when I was a little girl from that movie, Lily. I guess I always thought that was her first appearance. Must have been right after this. Do you know that movie?
I really don't. No, I know Gigi, but not that one.
It's maybe we'll show it sometime. She's lovely in that too.
Okay.
But the next segment I wanted to show is the Our Love Is Here to Stay segment, which I just think is so beautiful. And he directed this entirely on his own, and it's down by the banks of the Seine, and it's so romantic. And that song just never gets old.
Right. This was later that night when they met, the date that he just set up, and she didn't want to be in that public place, so they kind of walked down by the river. And it's interesting you brought up the fact that Gene Kelly directed this particular scene. Vincent Minnelli, of course, the director, but he was going through at that time his divorce with Judy Garland.
Oh, really?
Yes. During the making of this film, he was called away. You know, he had to deal with the divorce. It was not a easy divorce. And so there were times when Gene took over.
Well, I just, that's so sad. I mean, Vincent Minnelli just always seems to me, he was such a gentleman. And you know, when you hear about how he acted on the set and how he was with everyone, and he just seemed like such a nice man. That's sad.
Yeah, and you know, from the interviews I've seen and everything, you can tell that Gene Kelly had a great relationship with Vincent Minnelli.
Well, they certainly picked the right person to direct it. I mean, and I love Meet Me in St. Louis so much. I love all his films, even the ones that are not musicals, which of course all of them escape me at this moment. But
Barbie, can you see the picture that we have on the screen right now?
yeah, isn't that fabulous? Oh my gosh, the colors in that.
This is from that American in Paris ballet, which was a 17-minute, musical number that took over a month to film.
Right, I wanted to show just a small segment of it as the ending tonight.
Absolutely, I know the segment because it's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, but right now let's do Our Love Is Here to Stay.
Absolutely. Great song.
That's the most charming moment in the film, I think. I just love it, everything about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I meant to say that I wanted to include a lot of Oscar Levant's clips, but we just don't have time. Oscar Levant plays his friend, and I mean, probably people have forgotten who Oscar Levant is, but he was a good friend of George Gershwin's, and that's one of the reasons that he was included in this film. And he himself wrote 50 published works of music. He was a composer and a lyricist.
That's him right there.
Oh, yes. And so, I mean, he's kind of important in the film. It's just we only have a limited amount of time. But I've recorded 3 or 4 of Oscar Levant's songs. I just actually did one for the latest CD I just got done recording. So I have a fondness for him. And he was a funny man in a lot of...
Very funny. My sister loves Oscar Levant, and of course, you know, he's in Bandwagon as well. But there's a funny scene. I don't know if you're going to show it or not, but there's a funny scene in this movie where the two of them, Gene Kelly and George Guattari, they're, you know, like you said, they're both in love with the same girl, but they don't know it.
Right.
And of course, Oscar Levant, you know, he knows it. And so he's at the table with them, and they're both talking about being, you know, one's talking about being married to her. The other one is talking about, you know, wanting his so that it's going to come out, and he's trying to prevent them from finding out. It's pretty, he's smoking 3 cigarettes at a time or whatever. It's pretty funny. He's a funny guy.
It is funny. Is that in this wonderful segment?
It's in here. I called it Close Call.
Oh, that would be fun to show. I was going to show Stairway to Paradise next.
Okay.
But I would like to include Oscar Levant if we have time in something.
Well, you know, I'd say probably the biggest Oscar Levant number that we have here in this movie that we took a clip of is I forgot what I called it actually. Let me see here. But it's the one where he does it's the concerto or the symphony where he plays everything. He's playing the piano, he's the conductor, he's the audience. It's kind of a play on Buster Keaton had done.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah. And that seems kind of like a long segment to stream for some reason. So I wasn't going to do it. But I mean, obviously everyone's going to run out and rent this movie again or buy this movie again.
Buy it. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just wanted to mention that he's also from Pittsburgh, as is Gene Kelly.
Is he really?
Yeah. And
wow.
At one point, Oscar Levant's brother also wrote some music, and Gene Kelly was involved early on as a young kid in something in which Oscar Levant's brother had written some music. His brother went on to be like a urologist or something, but there was that little connection, and then they re-met in Hollywood.
Wow.
It's small world.
Yeah, no, he's great. He adds a lot to this movie for sure.
Yeah.
He had a funny line too. He said something like, "He's a concert pianist," which means which means I'm out of work looking for a job, right?
Exactly.
I know.
Yeah, that's kind of like being a big band vocalist.
It means I don't have a job.
Right. I wanted to show Stairway to Paradise, though. Speaking of vocalists, I wanted to show Gutierrez in all his glory, and I just think this is a great song.
Okay. Right. This is the gentleman that's playing the part of the other side of the triangle. You know, she's engaged to marry him because he took care of her for all those years after, during the war, World War II and after, and she grew up and she's old enough to supposedly get married now. By the way, Gene Kelly, the next movie after this, of course, was Singing in the Rain, but he plays these parts. This happened a lot in those days where he's 39 years old and Leslie Caron, I think, was 19 at the time.
Right. I read that they were 19 years apart. Yeah. So
Yeah.
right. I know. Well, I mean, look at all the Audrey Hepburn stuff with, I guess Gregory Peck was much older, and she
Cary
did the one
Grant,
with Gary
yep.
Cooper and Cary Grant. Yeah, I know.
Well, Humphrey Bogart, too.
Oh yeah, that's true.
He was much older than her.
Oh yeah, and Sabrina. Oh my gosh,
Mhm.
yeah, love that movie.
Okay. So we're going to do it. Stairway to Paradise. He's a cabaret singer, star, whatever, and he's performing.
Right.
Very nice. You saw what we did.
whistling.
We played them back to back, Barbie.
No, that was good. I'm glad you did. I like the whistling, and I just like it's so charming. It's so simple, really, and all the things they do well. It's nice to see something that's not so overblown and complicated.
Yeah. And it's interesting because they're both singing about the same girl. It's wonderful, it's marvelous, and they don't realize it.
Yeah, I know.
It's cute.
That's a real old movie for you. That little triangle.
Uh-huh. Absolutely.
Anyway, I mean, we really have to show part of the ballet because, I mean, that's one of the reasons the film was made in the first place.
No question about it. Gene Kelly always wants to show all aspects of dancing. It's not just tap dancing, and,
Right.
He could do the ballet and, what he does here. The only part that I clipped was the Toulouse-Lautrec kind of painting.
Right.
was-
I think a fairly famous artist did the drawings for this actual scene.
Okay.
I don't know who it was, but and then there's all these references to famous artists throughout the whole film, which is brilliant. I mean, there isn't anything that they didn't. They touched upon the fact that France is famous for perfume and dance and art and architecture and
Cabaret.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a real homage to Paris.
Yeah, and the whole idea of the drawings, the paintings, the artistry, he's an artist, and that's why he chose to live over there so he could sell his art.
In Montmartre.
In Montmartre, yes.
Yeah.
Did you go to Montmartre?
We did, yeah, I did.
What's
yeah,
it like over there?
It's very busy and touristy at this time of year, but still amazing. And I went into the Sacré-Cœur. It was actually beautiful. There were some sisters, some nuns there that were actually singing, and it was gorgeous. It's a beautiful structure.
How far is that from Paris?
Well, it's in Paris. It's just
Oh,
up
okay.
north.
It's a section of Paris?
It's a section of Paris, and it's there's actually a little funicular that you can take up the side of this. It's a little. I don't even know why it's so high up in the city, but it's this little mound really in the city of Paris, and then the overlook is amazing. You can see everything.
Okay, and did you go to the Champs-Élysées?
Yep, yeah, I stayed quite near there in a friend's flat. So, and there's shots of the opera as the film opens, and that's actually one of the reasons that we went over there. Is that the man that I'm dating is an artist himself, and was commissioned to paint the opera. So
Wow.
we were there a lot.
Awesome.
It was pretty amazing. It's amazing that you wanted to show this.
All right, great. Well, then we're going to go to the jazz scene. I
Yep,
mean, the
The American
ballet?
in Paris Kelly. Yep, that would be wonderful.
Okay, this is
Thank
just
you.
a small excerpt from the overall 17-minute extravaganza that had all kinds of dancing in it, but he has that picture. He brings it to life, and he dances like a character out of a drawing.
It's very, very brilliant, really.
All right, nice call, Barbie. Let's do it, fellas. Wow.
So beautiful. The music is so beautiful. The orchestration is so beautiful.
Yeah, and matter of fact, they gave Gene Kelly an honorary Oscar. They created an honorary Oscar for dance and film for that whole segment.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah, that was in addition to the 6 Oscars that the film won. It was a special Oscar to honor his achievement in dance choreography for that big 17-minute ballet.
Well, I mean, that's all Arthur Freed. I mean, really, how wonderful to be someone as creative as Gene Kelly and then have somebody that will support that and produce that for you.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, Gene Kelly told a story about that. It was one of those times during when Nina Foch had the chicken pox, and they had to cease production for about 3 days. He said that he went into him and Vincent Minnelli, I guess, went into strategizing or whatever, and they mapped out that whole 17-minute ballet, for the film, and during those 3 days that they couldn't shoot.
Right.
And then he went to, I guess, Freed with it. And Freed said, whoa, hold it right there. He says, I don't understand a word you guys are saying, but I trust you guys, so just go ahead and do it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, to have that kind of free reign to do something, no one gets that.
Yeah,
Talk about having a patron of the arts.
It took I think 6 weeks or something like that to shoot it or rehearse and shoot and everything, just that one part. Yeah.
Well, I just thank you so much for suggesting this. It was so, kind of you after I just returned to think of this movie, and
well, listen,
I wouldn't have thought of it, and it was so much fun to watch again.
Well, you don't have to twist my arm to watch Gene Kelly anytime, So, hey, listen, it seemed appropriate,
Hey, good call. Good call.
All right.
Well, next week I'm on the riverboat, so I don't know if we're going to make contact or not, but I'll talk to you before that for sure.
Okay, great. So you're going to be down south on the riverboat?
I'll be getting on the riverboat, the paddle steamer in Memphis, and we take that up to Cincinnati.
Okay.
So that'll be fun.
All right. Well, if
we'll
we
have
can,
to show Tom Sawyer or something.
I haven't seen that.
I haven't seen it for you. Huckleberry Finn with Mickey Rooney, I guess.
All right, we'll figure something out. So
right.
If you can join us, great. If not, we'll see you, after that. But we'll talk, okay?
And thank you, guys. Thanks so much. See you soon.
Thanks, Barbie. Have a good night. All right, take care. Okay, another classic film zone, comes to an end. This time it was Gene Kelly. And let's see, in our classic film zone, we've done Kelly with Singing in the Rain. We've done Anchors Away. And now this, I think that's the third Gene Kelly movie we've done now, out of about, I think somewhere over close to 40 different episodes. All right, so listen, we're getting to that time now. We're going to have to put an end on things. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to our last segment of the night, Always Chasing Rainbows. Well, we end every show with a segment called Always Chasing Rainbows, where we feature a Judy Garland moment, whether it's in film or on television or in her concerts. I always find her performances to be inspirational. Tonight, in thinking about it, what was I going to show? Well, I thought that since we just featured a movie of George and Ira Gershwin, all George Gershwin tunes, I thought we should show Judy Garland singing a George Gershwin tune. And I had a choice of a few of them. We have her doing Embraceable You and the one that we showed tonight, Our Love Affair Is Here to Stay. We have her doing that with Mickey Rooney also. But I think the one that I wanted to show is another George Gershwin song called But Not For Me. And this was in the film Girl Crazy in 1943 with Mickey Rooney. You're not going to see Mickey in this clip, though. And at this point, Mickey kind of just broke her heart a little bit because he gave his locket to another girl or something like that. So they're out in the middle of the desert, so to speak. They're out in the country. And so she just goes outside, and she's out there in the middle of nowhere. And her friend Rags comes out there to see if she's okay. And he asked her to sing a song, and she chooses But Not For Me, a George Gershwin tune. So here's Judy from Girl Crazy in 1943.
Miss Ginger. Oh, Miss Ginger, you can't do that. That's for kids.
Oh, Rags, I feel so miserable.
Oh, Miss Ginger. You know, I know you since you were that high, and I saw you fall off horses and get run over, but gee, I never saw you cry. You know what I came out here for?
What?
You remember one day you told me that, well, if ever I felt lonesome, that you'd sing me a song just for me?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I feel lonesome.
Oh, man, sunshine, listen you. Never tell me dreams come true. Just try it, and I'll start a riot. Beatrice Fairfax, don't you dare ever tell me he will care. I'm certain it's the final curtain. I never want to hear from any cheerful Pollyannas who tell you fate supplies a mate. It's all bananas. They're writing songs of love, but not for me. Lucky stars above, but not for me. With love to lead the way, I found more skies of gray than any Russian play could guarantee. I was a fool to fall and get that way. Hi-ho, alas, and also lack a day. Although I can't dismiss the memory of his kiss, I guess he's not for me.
Well, there it is. Another show in the books. I want to thank you all for joining us tonight. Hope you enjoyed that. You know, make sure you go out there and pick up that movie, An American in Paris. You're going to like that. And next week, we'll be right back here on Thursday night with another episode of Chilling with Larry and Megan. So just remember, you know, always keep pursuing your dreams. Always keep chasing those rainbows. Until next week, I'm Larry Megan. Peace, love, and all good things.